Welcome back, guys. Now you can see I've cleaned up the airbox just a little bit and wiped down a little bit on the interior of the bike, trying to get some of the dirt busted up and free before we remove the airbox. Now it's been a couple days since I've done anything on the bike. Today we're going to strip the fairings off, but first I'm going to try to get some air in this back tire, so if I need to move it around. And to do that, I bought some regular old fixed flat, and I'm gonna put that in there. I got the bike on my wheel stands, and that should help, hopefully. It says it seals up to a 1/4 inch puncture, and this is just a small little gash, so hopefully we'll take care of that. And also the other night I ordered the left side tank plastic that goes on. It was missing that from the tank. I got that in. 16 bucks, genuine Kawasaki. Fits. So I'm happy about that. Went ahead and ordered it. Don't need it right now, but when we get to that point, I'll definitely need that dress piece. All right, well, let's get down here and see if we can make this tire hold a little bit of air. Okay, we're going to spin this tire where the gash is on the bottom. And let's see. That's not going to work. That puts the valve stem in a very bad spot. So it's just about 90 degrees from the valve stem. We shall see. May put a full can in it. Well, isn't that wonderful? The straw just broke. That's awesome. That's awesome. And of course I got the stuff all over my hands too. Should have put gloves on, and I did. Let's see if it's nice. That was not smart. I just sprayed shit all over myself. Excellent. So I am going to go get cleaned up, and I'll be right back. Well, as my grandfather would have told me long ago, son, sometimes bad things happen to good people. Round 2. Okay, let's try this again and try not to hit the freaking button this time. I don't know that this is going to work, but we'll give it a shot. I mean, there's still some in here. Okay, alrighty, get this cap on, roll the wheel. Can see the hole there. Okay, I have it facing down. Now, that should be good for that. Onward to fairings. What am I doing? Take this shit away from me. First thing I'm going to do is go around and disconnect all of the wiring for the digital dash, the lights, turn signals, any type of cabling or connector that attaches to the fairings we need to get loose. So let's dive into it and get that started. The front assembly comes off fairly easy. Once you have it loose from the side, there's basically 3 bolts up here behind the windscreen, and the whole thing comes right off. Just have to make sure you get the odometer and or the dash connector and all the lights disconnected. And most of the time you just flip the little connector top back, the wire retainer, and the wire comes right out. So I'd already taken this lower section off since it was broken, just flopping around. This is for the turn signal. Not really being too careful with it since the thing is pretty much destroyed already. Definitely need the windscreen loose to get your hands into here. Use my little screwdriver. Use my small terminal screwdriver here. Just to help me get some of these tabs broke free. This one is not wanting to release. There we go. There. Okay. I think I have it all. I'm going to double check. All we have left is the odometer. The digital dash here. Let's see if I can work the little rubber boot. Looks like someone's some tape on it. Doesn't look factory, but it could be. And again, my trusty little terminal screwdriver. Use that to break the rubber free from the back of the assembly. Allow me to peel it back. So the connector is now exposed. And we'll fold it back out of the way. Let's see, there's the release. And there we go. Connector's free. So, for me to drop this entire front assembly, I am 3 bolts away. 1, 2, and 3, right here in the middle where the windscreen attaches. So I'm going to push this connector downward out of my way. Make one more check, make sure I did not miss anything. Does not look like it. Those look like 10 millimeter. See if we can start the loosening process. I'm going to take the center one out lastly because I'm afraid that this whole thing's going to come crashing down on me. Okay. Oh yeah, that's whole assembly is going to come right off now. Then we'll place one arm under the bottom. And we should be able to take, there we are. All right, ladies and gents, so what we'll do now, let's replace this busted ignition. And to do that, I'm going to loosen this up, remove the handlebars, make sure that it is marked where the clamp seams to the handlebars. You should have some sort of tiny little mark for that seam for the correct angle. And yeah, this one is marked. They have, looks like they took a little center punch and popped it. Okay, this was at 6 millimeter. And basically, I'm just going to take this off, leave the controls just as they are for now, and lay this thing over out of the way. Yeah, make sure nothing's hindering me here. Yeah, we should be all right. May need a new clutch cable. And I'm just going to go around and break all 4 of these loose. And you can see the bars are starting to rotate out of position already. And you guys know I usually will use my little impact or hand drill. For this series, I'm going to use everyday normal hand tools that normal people will have available to them. Okay, so we're just going to gently lay that over because we do have hydraulic brake line here. Okay, let's lay it over. And now to remove this, we will loosen these 2 bolts. There's a center plug, which I just dropped. And we have to take this top nut off of here. So we're going to rotate around until we get to lock position. And there we go. So now we have that broke loose. We're going to loosen these 2. And that should still be our 6mm. It is. You don't need to take these all the way out, just loose. Give yourself a little bit of gap in between the head of the bolt and the triple clamp. We'll roll the handlebars back up, make it a little easier. And that bad boy looks tiny, like an 8mm socket. Oh yeah. She broke by hand. That's good. Stainless hardware. Lay that over there. Then I have this one. Okay. There we go. Cable retainer is out of the way. So now let's resume where we were. We're going to lay handlebar and controls over this way, making sure not to damage the brake line or connector. Don't want to damage that banjo fitting. Okay, so we have this top nut loose. Once it breaks free, it's only finger tight. Take it and the washer off. And let's see if it'll come off now. No, so I'm going to spread these out just a little bit. Okay. Just give it a little persuasion here. Let's see if that comes off now. All right, so I'm going to take my mallet now and see if we can tap this thing off. Everything should be free. So, there she goes. Okay. And just work this thing back and forth. Almost there. There we go. One old ignition removed. So now we need to take the handlebar risers off of here. You see you've got 2 little spring pin, cotter pins right here. We'll pop those out, back these nuts off, and then transplant onto our new ignition assembly. And check that out, guys. They just pried or busted the ignition off of it. All right, well, I'm gonna swap those handlebar risers over and we'll be right back. All right, so there are the handlebar risers removed. And I think before I put these back on and assemble everything, I'm gonna clean them up a little bit. And I think I've got some black paint, so I'm gonna dress them up, touch up some of that, sand them up a little bit and repaint them. Make them look nice. Okay, we're back. I've touched these up a little bit, made them look a little bit nicer than they did. They're not fully tightened in place yet. I want to get the bar in there, and then I'll tighten the bottoms and get everything adjusted. This is just sitting on here. We have to tap this back on. Set that out of the way. Now I can actually get center. Catch that up a little bit. All right. Side needs down a little more. It look pretty even. Collar's sitting about where it needs to be. Let's put this bad boy back in. Just gonna snug it for now. And then I'll get my torque wrench out and actually torque this thing. There we go. All right, now let's get these bars back on. You see, by leaving these loose, they'll self-situate. Put your top clamp on, and we'll begin getting all the bolts started here. Work myself in a diagonal pattern. Okay, and I'm checking for my alignment marks here. Looks pretty good. Inside, good. So we'll go ahead and tighten around. You don't want to over tighten all that. There we are. So now all that's back together. We've actually accomplished something. Now we have to reroute all the cables back and reattach the wire holders. But first we need to tighten down the riser blocks here and then put our cotter pins back in. And there's rubber gaskets underneath of here. So we just tighten these down to the point where we can get our cotter pin back in. It should be close. So I just felt it snug up. So you just, there you go, a little bit of tension. Then we take our little cotter pin here. We're gonna stick it all the way through to retain the nut. And when you feel it tighten up, you just want to snug it. And then stick your cotter pin back. As such. So we're now back together. Yeah! Okay, now we get to put this wonderful little cable harness back in, and you get all of these little cables back situated. Let me pass my ignition through here. Might make it a little easier on myself, because I'll have to undo this one for that as well. Get it started here. Okay, well, let's take a step back and admire all of our accomplishments for today. And I think I have that. Let's see. Okay, all the cables look good, making their traverse back and forth. So I believe I'm going to plug the ignition in. and now I need my 10mm. And I want the handlebars turned all the way that way, so I know I'm getting the right amount of slack on this cable. I'll put it in, and there is a notch in the frame at the bottom that lower part of this thing snaps into. So let me get this one started and then tighten down. Okay, and this connector was just kind of sandwiched in like this. And that's how it was. All right, so working ignition. Let's check steering lock. I mean, it works, but it's already been broken free once. There was a little indentation in the front frame here, but we know the functions all work now. Okay, so we've made a lot of progress. All right, so to give you guys a rundown of what's coming up, I've ordered new plugs, block off plates, air filter, and also I'm going to tear all the components of the front cowling apart, remove the headlights, the dash, digital gauge, get all that ready and check to see what other parts and pieces I'm missing. I'm going to save any connectors and bolts or whatever I can salvage out of that. I'm going to try to. But I appreciate you guys watching. I've received a lot of positive feedback so far. And this is just going to be a down and dirty bike build, and I'll try to talk through as much as possible. If you guys have any questions while I'm doing this, please ask, email me. I'll try to go over whatever specifics you guys are looking for as far as performance and maintenance and tear down replacement such as this. Earlier, this is really not a good video to watch for how to pull the fairings and things off because, well, the fairings were already broke and missing half the connectors. But when we get the new kit in, we'll go over that then. So next thing coming up, I should have more parts Tuesday-ish, and then we'll go ahead and pull the airbox off and do the block off and get the filters and plugs changed. But appreciate everyone watching and all the great comments. Keep them coming. Make sure all you new folks hit your like and subscribe buttons so you can stay in touch with what's going to take place. I mean, we're just going through replacing all the broke stuff right now. And then soon it'll be aesthetics, changing things to the way that I want the bike. And like I said, leave me some suggestions if you guys think something would be cool on this bike to do. Let me hear it. All right, guys, till next time, ride safe.